to do lead when I was young and played in bands, but I'm rusty.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could do I could do a little bit of lead maybe. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I play
Hey guys, hold up a sec.
rhythm.
You
Sorry.
play rhythm?
Yeah, I play the rhythm and a bit of lead. Not my brother's more the lead, and I'm more the rhythm.
Yeah.
And I
And
play
we
bass.
are on. Yes, we are. Perfect. Hey guys.
Hey, you guys, we're on the
You,
air.
you all know who we are, Andrew James Photography.
Yeah.
I'm here with my two co-hosts, Uncle Bob and Mark. Je suis avec Mark et mon oncle Bob. And we have a guest this evening. We have Dan Lupo. Dan, say hi. Introduce yourself.
Hello everybody and hi AJ, thank you so much for inviting me. This is I'm curious to dive in and see what kind of subjects come up and yeah, participate in this. Thank you.
Fantastic. You guys, you all know where to reach us. Vous nous trouvez sur ma chaîne YouTube. Justement, c'est épisode 89. We are now episode 89 in the live streams, guys.
Oh, yeah,
89.
that's
That's between our Facebook group photo reviews and our roundtables that we started up last year.
Mhm.
Uncle Bob and I had a great day today. We went out shooting down in the old port. I
Yeah.
do want to scream out to Bière et Camera Montréal. Again, I missed another event. It was the photography swap meet. From what I saw from Instagram, ça avait l'air bien intéressant. Tabarouette, il y avait pas mal de stock ces tables. I know Francis was worried about how many tables were going to be there, but it seemed, from what I saw, it seemed pretty interesting. Other than that, I gotta scream out again for the shop. Many of you have been hearing about my weekend workshop. Well, it's up. We're ready for it. It comes with one of these two books here, reference manuals on film photography. The weekend is a Saturday, Sunday event starting next week, May 10th and 11th. It's a four-part workshop. Shoot in the morning on the Saturday, develop the films in class on the afternoon. After that, it's scanning on the Sunday morning and then prepping for print or export on the Sunday afternoon. I'm hoping it's going to happen. We have a few days still before we have to push the class to the fall. We're looking for anywhere from 4 to 6 or 8 people. Just call in the store, Gosselin Photo at the discount. I'll put you'll check out on my Instagram. I'll put the phone number for the store. In the meantime, Mark, how you
Yes,
been,
sir.
man? What's up?
Uh, Pool season's coming close, so getting that done today. As for photography, well, there's a certain project that we're working with the RDP Photo Club, which is supposed to be intersection street photography.
Mhm.
And in that, there's supposed to be different themes inside the street, the exhibition. You have Uncle Bob, and we have 11 other photographers.
Nice.
So coming out of my nature, because my nature is mostly animal photography, I have no problems with animals. I tend to have more problems with humans. So uh, basically, that's about it. No, may so that'll be, just like I'm saying, a little change of pace, discovering something else. The expression rubbing elbows with Uncle Bob because he has a history with street photography, and other photographers that have a lot more history and experience
Yeah,
than
yeah,
I.
for sure.
So that's
Speaking of
that's the
which,
plan for mostly summer.
I will make some kind of a little jab at Rivière des Prairies. We were supposed to have your president here
Very busy man.
tonight.
Very
I
busy
believe
man.
so, yeah.
Yeah, very busy man. You know what? You can give him a shot in the head for me next time you see him, and tell him I said this on the air. Ça fait
Okay.
plusieurs fois que j'attends qu'il se présente, puis s'est pas présenté encore. Bob, that goes out to you, man. So when you see this, I hope you get a little
You
nudge
get the
there.
message.
Exactly.
A little guilt.
A little guilt, exactly. The only Italian way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark, I interrupted you. Continue.
There's no problem. Like I said, at this very moment, nothing much. It's like I'm slowly preparing for that. I got it, certain ideas. I've changed. It's like more I go out, it's like, oh my God, I could do this. Oh my God, I could do that, and
Yeah.
then I had a brief idea of taking a picture in the rain, which I never do because I don't want to ruin my equipment. I'm still so scared of that, but that's life. I know the old photographers keep saying to me, Mark, they're built to take some water. Don't
Yes.
drop them in the lake, but we understand each other. And so the plan was to go out and find someone with an umbrella.
Mhm.
And I actually found that person 5,000 feet away from my residence
Yeah.
as she closed her umbrella. So the shoot was dead. Trying to find someone unexpectedly and take the picture. So I'm going to have to go back out.
Oddly enough, today, Andrew's camera had all kinds of people stopping.
Well, yeah, I've seen the picture. You're using your 4x5?
No, that today I was using the 6x9, the Horseman.
Okay.
I didn't even see
So-
the picture. I got to see what this picture is.
It's
Uh-uh.
well, yeah, but you're not invited to intersection.
Oh, okay. It's only for those members. Ah, okay.
Yes. So
Yeah.
basically, when you start seeing the exposition, you'll get to probably see it there.
Ah, okay, okay,
If
okay,
If he
okay.
chooses that one.
Yeah, exactly. I just put one like that to say, c'est avec toi, là.
Ah, nice, nice. Uncle, what about you? How's your month been?
This month I did a lot of photo stuff this month. Well, we finished the club. Our RDP finished last Wednesday,
Okay.
and in that we had the few little contests here and there that we always do. It was a lot of fun. So I filled some pictures in there. We've got the results of the SPPQ.
Yeah, that's right.
The 4 pictures were in it. I happened to come number 34, but not too
Good.
bad. But we had 2 colors, two black and whites, and they were under 30.
Okay.
So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm proud of the club because this year all the 4 pictures were in were taken, or in the
Right.
or in the thing. So that was good.
For
And
those
the
who are
club came
watching,
in
for those
12.
who don't know, the SPPQ is la Société Promotionnelle de la Photographie du Québec. And basically it's a photo contest organization for all of the national photo clubs. There were
Yeah.
participating this year, if I remember correctly, because I was at the Monday night gala. Il y avait 32 clubs qui sont présentés dans le
In the
concours
circuit. Yeah.
interclub, which is the interclub. Now, the interclub contest is a contest that it's actually 2 black and whites and 2 colors from each photo club.
Yeah.
I believe there were
Well, there were 43 colors.
32 times 4 means, Mark, math,
Wow.
a calculator.
32 times 4.
Okay. I got it. 40, 32 times
8.
4.
136.
136.
128.
128? 36?
128.
Okay.
128.
So there were half black and white, half color.
Yeah.
And
from
they were
that,
presented. It's the photo clubs that rate or that review the photos. It's not the organization.
Yeah.
There are 3 other contests which are they hire judges for. This one here is that all 100 or more photos are passed from club to club, and each club gets to rate all the pictures from the other photo clubs, not their own. They can't rate their own. It was a beautiful night. It was I have to admit that there were some photos, I mean, we all have our own opinions about photography, but
well, our club came in 12th on
12, yeah, that's right, of the 32,
Yeah,
which is very good.
Yeah, we were very happy. We were very happy. So, it was good. And out of the 128 pictures, there were actually 86 that were chosen.
Yeah.
43 black and white and 43 colors.
Exactly.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I was pretty happy, with the results for our club,
It was a tough decision in our club to put the pictures that we chose,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
because basically it was a vote in or a vote off that made a difference if you were in or out, you know.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And, the material, it was pretty good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah. I know.
And our club really loved receiving the other pictures, because that's how you learn basically what you can do. I know that the way I am as a photographer, and compared to the experience that you guys have, is oh, I didn't know I could do this. And by
Yeah, yeah,
seeing what's being done in the other clubs and the other photographers, well, hey, wow, that gives me an idea for something else. And you explore it and you find something really fun.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's right, you know. Well, you gotta build that confidence in yourself that if you can think it, you can do it. You know,
Absolutely.
you know.
Hey, Dan, have you ever participated into the different competitions or something like
Well,
that?
wait, before Dan asks that, Dan, give us a little insight on who you are, what you do.
Amazing. Thank you. Um, I'll answer the question. The answer is simple no. I do. I haven't participated in competitions. I do photography as more as a so far as a personal art, as a meditation, as a moment to go out, as a way to capture moments of my life. I've I started photography when I was a teenager, with film, obviously, and was very happy to move to digital and be able to practice so much more, right? Because it's so immediate, though I still love film. Um, right
Well,
now, yeah,
we all love
that
it.
that's it. I used to think it was expensive, but now it's really expensive.
Yeah,
I
you're right. You're right.
should have done more film back then.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I don't believe in styles or having to have your own style. I'm more like, explore, experiment, do what you feel. I find that today there's a little bit of a challenge with that because we have so much input from outside, right? There's so much influence from outside. There's so much going on outside telling us, do this, look at this, look at that, that when you're out there, depends on the mindset that you're going
Yeah.
with. You might be in your element and you might be somewhere else. And for me, the exercise of being in your element more and more, that's what I look for through photography, because photography shows me how to see, right? It's
Absolutely.
Well said. Yeah,
yeah,
well said.
And like you were saying, you got to clear your mind of all of the influences outside
yeah,
and do what you love, because
yeah.
photography, no matter what, photography is subjective.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like
You
you
know what I
said,
mean?
some of the photos exposed, we love them. Some of them we don't understand them. Some of them we hate them.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
the artist enjoy what they're doing. Amazing. If somebody else enjoys what you did, good for you. But the primary thing is that you know why and what you did, right?
exactly.
yeah,
As a matter of fact, I'm rereading a lot of my old textbooks from school when I was back in school. And this is Andreas Fenninger. And one of the out of this one book, with the one phrase that touched me the most was phrase that he said, um, the know-how is useless unless you know the know why. And reminiscing on that, just that phrase, it's fine and dandy to know how to do it, but it's useless knowing how to do it if you don't know why you're taking that picture. You need
Exactly.
to represent that story the way that you can and know what it is about that story that you're trying to represent in your photograph. And evidently, the better photograph comes with a certain amount of knowledge of the know-how, the technique,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Though there's people that, grab an iPhone and make photos that just astonish me and drop me to the ground because they just
For
had
sure.
some kind of,
yeah.
and they have no technical knowledge.
That's it.
Um, right?
That's it. That's the first thing is the composition first.
Yeah,
Yeah, composition, division, and that for me that's such a curious thing. It's such a beautiful thing, right? Is to discover that within yourself and then see it also in others, right? There's a sharing of knowing when you see somebody took a good photograph,
Yeah.
you know there's this admiration, there's this beauty. You're like, wow, that moment and all the elements that combine to it, especially if it's also technical, right? Like you got all the settings correct. You were there at the right moment. You had the right lens. The light was perfect. The subject came through. You know, like all these things, and then it's such a beautiful thing, right? And for that, I think that we owe it to ourselves that when we're out there is to be present, because all these things are flying in your head, right?
Exactly.
Aperture, timing, ISO, focus, zoom, right?
But that's at the beginning. That's
Yeah,
at the beginning.
yeah,
Once you've mastered that, then it's no longer an issue anymore because it's
that's it.
automatic.
That's it.
And that's what
Or
we're looking for. We're
you
looking
have
for that
your way, right?
automation of, hey, there's the shot. That's it. Click. It's done. I don't have to
That's
think
it.
about
That's it.
it. You know,
That's it.
that's what I try to inspire in most of my students is that yes, there's a bit of math, there's a bit of science, but once you understand the basic principles of that, there's nothing you can't do. You know,
That's it.
maybe because I'm a generalist in the sense that, you know, everybody knows that I do astro right down to macro photography. For 20 years, I did event photography. I did commission photography. It just gets to a point where now I want to just do what I like doing. You know,
That's
I've
amazing.
never had anybody ask me, "Can you shoot me on a piece of glass?" But now that I'm shooting dry plate, I hope to do wet plate very soon. So, you know,
You know, the photography is about light. And once you understand light and how to manipulate the light through the technical part of the camera, the rest is it's up to you. You can do anything. You know,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
it is, yeah. And what you said before is that it teaches you how to see is so true, because when I started photography, I was 12 years old. And I was like that kid who, you know, nerdy a bit and, you know, this and that. But when I started photography, I started seeing the world around me. And that was a big thing. You know, that was a big thing that I'm 71 years old and I still look at the world around me. So, you know,
Yeah.
Dan, just so you know, Uncle
Yeah.
Bob is my uncle who shot weddings in the 60s with Kodachrome 64.
Oh, you told me about this.
Not 6400 ISO,
yeah,
64 ISO.
64.
with a big flash.
For sure.
With a big flash.
Everyone came out with a sunburn after that.
You know, the times were different. That's that. And you know, we used to do a big wedding was 10 36s. You know, that was a big wedding.
That's 360 photos. How many of them did you deliver?
Well, the usual album was either 24 or 18, depending on the customer. And then they would make a few small albums for their parents, usually.
Okay.
So out of the 360 pictures, maybe they chose 40 pictures, you know,
Okay.
that they would use somehow, either as thank you cards, either as, you know.
Yeah.
So the ratio is like maybe 10%.
Okay.
You know, today they take 2,000 pictures, and you know, if you take 10% of 2,000 pictures, you got a lot of pictures.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You got a big album.
I know that when I was last photographing weddings, we were shooting. Well, I cut it down to about 800 shots as the principal photographer, and the studio between me and the second shooter would deliver approximately, I think it was somewhere around 800 shots. That's like, are you kidding me? Everybody I know who receives 800 shots looks at the first 100 and then is bored
Eyes glaze up.
for the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, in my last, I've been scanning our old films and slides and prints from 50, 60 years ago, and I've got actually 3 of my my mom and dad's wedding and my dad's 2 brothers' wedding. So one was married in 52. My mom and dad were married in Uncle 69.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you did Uncle Lou's wedding, which was in 72.
72. And how old was I?
That would have made you what?
18.
19?
18.
18. 18. 18, you were shooting weddings.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you can see you see the variation of photography in the 50s. There were 12 shots and they were all posed.
Absolutely.
And then when it hit this in the 60s, well, there was a little bit more documentary, photojournalistic style with portraits, with posed photos, and then 72 is more like what it is today, you know, 3 or 4 years later. It's really weird to see
Well,
the evolution.
when my parents
Yeah.
got married, it was 1945, and there was 2 photographs in the studio. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. 2 photos in the studio, and the other photos were outside that their brother took or their sister took or
Right.
somebody took with a big camera from Kodak with a 620 film in it or a 120 film, and the negatives were this big.
Right.
But I mean, that's the way it was last time, I would say, and then it slowly evolved into a little album, and then
Dan, what do you shoot now?
It makes it makes me think. It makes me think. That there must be a graph somewhere between amount of photos shot, available ISO, and cost per shot,
Yeah,
and
that
and
way.
how it just increases to today.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
3200 ISO was only introduced in the late 80s to early 90s.
How much? When?
3200.
3200 ISO was
3200,
only in the late 80s, early 90s,
Yeah, because
film wise.
what we used to do in my time was and it was a big thing. It was to boost to 1800.
Yeah.
1600, I think. 1600, not 1800. And
Yeah,
that was a big thing. You know what I mean? It took
Yeah.
special chemicals, it took Acufine, it took Zeppelin, and a bunch of stuff. So boosting Stepo, it wasn't often done, you know what I mean?
Well, because it grew your grain bigger.
Yeah, unless you really had to, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know.
And everything was developed. Everything was hand developed
Yeah, hand developed, yeah.
because the mini labs only came out in the early 90s,
Absolutely, yeah.
the mechanical labs. Dan, what do you shoot?
Today I mostly shoot an Olympus EM5.
Okay.
I love to take it out. I actually have a Lumix. I only have Lumix lenses on it, but my favorite is a 25 millimeter, which is an equivalent to 50.
50.
I love 50 because I used to shoot with a Canon AE1 with
Yeah.
a 50 millimeter, which
Right.
I have. I have the Canon too, and take it out sometimes. Got to get it fixed though. It has a little light leak, so we'll see
Okay.
when I get that fixed. And then the other one is a Ricoh GR
Okay.
3, the
How do you
28
like the Ricoh
millimeter.
GR?
That is probably my favorite camera ever. Because it's a camera that it has the capabilities of a powerful professional camera in a tiny package. It fits in your pocket. The image quality is ridiculous. And yeah,
For Mark and Uncle Bob, it's a Ricoh, okay, who
Yeah.
bought Pentax. It's
Yeah.
a small rangefinder camera with a 23 millimeter lens. Dan, you can correct me. It's 23 millimeters, I believe.
28
28
millimeter.
millimeter.
Yeah,
And it's an APS-C or a 1-inch sensor. I forget.
APS-C.
It's an APS-C
Is-
sensor.
This is it.
Yeah. I saw those. They're nice little machines.
And I believe there's even a model you can get black and white. Or you
Well,
can have
it does black and
converted.
white, but they have a model. I think they're coming out with a black and white model.
Okay.
You're probably right. But the one that they came out with is a 40 millimeter.
Okay.
So they have a 28 millimeter and a 40 millimeter. The nice thing about it really is this little camera got me to get rid of my big Nikon D750 with all the stuff that I had. I just started just going out with this all the time because it
Okay.
was so light and it fit in my pocket, and so I got rid of all that stuff, and that's when I realized, well, now I missed the interchangeable lenses.
Okay.
And so that's how I got to Olympus, because I was like, okay, compact, I realize that I go out more when my gear is not, doesn't weigh 10 pounds. So
And don't listen to the so-called pros out there who have to crap on micro four thirds. I love micro four thirds specifically when it comes to sports, wildlife, and birds. That
yeah,
2x sensor is
yeah,
fantastic. I don't it's and this the fact that the whole system is half the size and at least if not half a third of the 2/3 of the weight of a regular full frame setup.
yeah. It's
Oh,
amazing, and honestly, like I've used it for everything. Um, it does everything that my D750 did. Um, the one thing that is a trade-off is you get less bokeh,
yeah.
but you can live with that. There's some good 1.4 or 1.2 lenses out there. You get enough bokeh if that's what you're
Yeah, yeah,
into, which I am. I like to have a short depth of field.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Uh, um,
I've
no,
been
it's a wonderful thing.
I've been using old uh, argentic lenses
Yeah,
on my ZF, and the
yeah,
book is beautiful.
yeah,
It just pulls it in, you know. It's
exactly.
really nice. Yeah, the old lenses are fantastic for things like that, you know.
That's
So
it.
it's not always commode, but you know,
I
That's
actually
it.
started shooting with my see, I started a few weeks ago. I started shooting my A7 III with my Leica, the Russian lens that I have, the
yeah,
M32 or no M39 screw mount.
screw 'em out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's really freaking amazing.
is it?
And the buzzword bouquet here is kind of, frowned upon. It's blur.
for
That's
sure,
just
You don't
blur.
for sure.
understand. You
It's a
don't
Japanese
understand.
word that means blur. It's the,
Blur.
You don't
Yeah,
understand.
I used to call it just depth of field, and then bokeh came around, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a nice fancy word. It sounds
Sounds cool.
sounds like sounds like a piece of cake.
There you go.
You know,
These
Mark, you're
Japanese
quiet.
have a funny way of saying things. Imagine karaoke, which means death tone, tone
Yeah,
deaf.
you're
So it's
tone
like,
deaf. Exactly.
That's what karaoke really means?
yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. That makes a whole lot of sense. Sorry, AJ.
It's okay. I like that one. So
Yeah,
what kind of photography?
everything.
Good.
You were talking about Uncle Bob. You're into street photography, and it made me think. I wanted to tell you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to go to the McCord Stewart
Not yet.
Museum.
No,
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
not yet. No, and I want to go there. Yeah,
Amazing, amazing exhibition. I had the chance to be there to be invited to the vernissage
Oh,
and
really?
meet a lot of people like I never thought I would ever meet.
Hmm.
I mean, meet, push my way through people and say hi to them because,
Right.
right?
It was full.
Um, it was full. It was amazing. It's an amazing exhibition. I really recommend it. And I love street photography. I would love to shoot like real, like moment, historical type of street photography.
yeah.
It's a bit of a challenge today, and they actually had a round table about it. I missed that a week after about how the law has changed and put some limitations into what we can do, and I think people are a little bit more, you know,
Well, you got
skeptical of cameras, less friendly to
well,
cameras, right?
yeah, exactly. You have the type that either they shun away,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you have the type that come and talk to you. You know, I've been on the street sometimes, and couples have come up to me and says, "Take our picture."
Wow.
You know, and why? Either because they were drunk or because they were stoned. But what the hell? It's for free. Okay, I'm taking your picture.
That's it.
You know. In
Well,
That's
fact,
it.
the other night we were with Fabio, the president of the club here, and we met a guy who was sitting. The guy was actually taking off his socks and his shoes and all this stuff here, and it was a good subject to photograph, And I started talking with him, and he come on, go ahead, man. Take my pictures. He says I'm used to it. He says I won I don't know, some Olympic championship of something for snowboarding or something. And Fabio didn't believe him. So he says, "You have a website?" He says, "Yeah, I got a website." It says everything. So the guy was like a real famous guy. And, we were like, just come so let's say,
Oui.
but if you don't, if you're nice to people in general, they'll be nice
They'll
back
be nice back.
Say-
Exactly.
That's it.
in general. Say,
And
I-
today we went to the old port, just me and Uncle Bob, because Uncle Bob for his project he needed a subject, and so I brought one of my older cameras, and after must have been about an hour, we got
Yeah.
stopped
yeah. Well, we got stopped
this
twice, twice or three
twice,
times.
yeah, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Evidently they were asking about the camera and this and that, but they were still curious about what we were doing, and I was doing Uncle had film and digital, and I had
Yeah.
my Horseman.
Andrew was the model, and I was actually
The
doing the
model.
work. I was doing the work. But but he took a few pictures too.
But it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good
Yeah.
subject opener when you have that camera because people are so interested.
That's it.
Absolutely.
They
Oh,
just
I-
come forward, and
I-
because it's in the photography, they'll let themselves be taken as pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had people across completely across the street making faces as I was walking with it over my shoulder, right? And I've got this huge 6x9 camera behind me, and uncle's walking behind me, and I look across the street. There's this young guy, must have been in his 20s, maybe his 30s, and he's looking at me, his big eyes, and I'm going, "Hey," and he looked at me, he goes, "Yeah," but he was walking the wrong way. He was going the opposite way we were. And
Yeah.
she's like, "What's going on?" Is there's a guy across the street. He saw the camera. I guess he saw the camera. And
Yeah.
you know.
He
He
came
thought he traveled back in time.
Anyway,
But it's everybody today is phone, and like you said, there are some people who have mastered it and do not too bad with it. But
Yeah.
a camera's a camera still.
yes.
Yeah.
As long as you
I find
understand
that-
the tool,
Yeah.
you can come up with some really great photography.
Yeah.
I think the choice of taking a camera versus a phone today, for me is important because I don't look at my phone for a couple of hours. I'm only with the
Absolutely.
camera. There's no
Absolutely.
notifications. There's no distractions. And I don't like that the phone enhances the images and does all its AI or whatever it does. Like, no, give me something that is more raw,
Yeah.
Exactly.
literally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
And
AJ,
even
you asked me about my style, but you were talking about it, you did from macro to astro.
yeah.
What is your style? I mean, and
Me?
what are all the things in between there that you've shot that you should?
My preferences are, I'll tell you, my big preference is street photography.
Yeah.
I do like, as far as nature goes, I do like landscape. I do wildlife photography because evidently I teach it. I do enjoy it. I don't get as much enjoyment out of it as I would doing and most of the photography that I do
I know.
that's not
Good.
35 millimeter being large
Yeah.
format takes time to set up, and I like the time it takes to set up because that's what's zen for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I do street photography, I tend to take my time doing it. After reading a book, I can't remember which book, and it wasn't The Decisive Moment. It was another book about Henri Cartier-Bresson. When I found out that in one of his last interviews of his career was asked for him what are the most important elements in his photograph when he's creating them, he said straight out that his most important element is always his background, because it's through his background that he chooses his composition and he fixes his exposure. And the human condition, he just waits for it to pass through the frame.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And as I've been practicing that over the last few years, I've realized that's for me the perfect, that's my zen moment. It's
Absolutely.
waiting for the human condition to pass through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the fact that you understand where the light's coming from and where the composition should, how the composition should be placed. All that stuff becomes, back of the head, back of the mind,
Yeah.
because you're set. You see your space. How am I going to use this space to capture some kind of human condition? And you set up for that, and then you wait for this human condition to pass, and the human condition will always pass, even if you miss the first shot.
Yeah.
You just have to be patient.
Mhm.
And I think that's what photography in itself has given me, is an immense amount of patience. My wife will say differently, right?
His
Okay.
friends
My
also,
family will
but
say differently. But when I'm in the zone, I can wait 3 minutes, I can wait 15 minutes, I can be sitting on a park bench for half an hour
Yeah.
until that, that moment arrives. But it's also the identifying it. But my style, honestly, is that and I've done portrait, I do studio, I do portrait, I did corporate, evidently I did for 20 years, I did events, religious events, and evidently weddings. I could say that I've probably done, oh, at least 50 or 60% of the cultural, different cultural weddings. I
Wow.
mean, I can't go through them all. I did Filipino, I did Hindu, I did Sikh, I did evidently Italian and Greek, Armenian,
Sure, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because you learn a lot about culture, right?
Right.
Um, that's what impresses me the most, is watching our society, and sometimes our society is not the greatest of societies on this earth, but
No.
you learn a lot about how we treat each other, and how we treat ourselves too. How
Yeah.
I'd say that's my
I don't know. I don't know if I would be good in photographing weddings today with the
Yeah.
amount of pictures that people take. You know,
I'll be honest, that's one of the reasons why I got out.
because
is
to
it
take
possible your quality of image would be better than taking 1,000? 1,000 nothings is not as good as 10 good pictures.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
absolutely, absolutely. But it's because the consumer today figures they're paying. I don't know. Today a wedding is what, $2,000, $3,000 to go photograph a wedding.
Today,
No.
they're probably around 4,000 or 5,000.
4,000 or 5,000. So the consumer figures he's paying 4,000 or 5,000. He wants to get pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
They want videos too today, right?
yeah, and videos.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. But in our day, they paid. Comment est-ce que je pourrais dire ça? Relatively expensive,
Yeah.
but they only wanted 20 pictures, 30 pictures, an album, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
C'était pas la même chose. So I don't know if I would be able to photograph 1,000 pictures in
Yeah.
a wedding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look, the beauty of today in digitals, you can see it right away. So if you got the picture, you got it. You don't need 20 pictures. If you got it, you
Yeah.
can see it. My day I used to take it and just pray for 2 weeks. Did we get it? I can't wait to see the proofs.
Yeah. And I'm assuming back in the day they would pay in advance and then the rest after they got the photos too. So
Yeah.
there was that risk, right?
Yeah, there was always that.
Today there was always a issue of payment, because I mean,
Yeah.
I know that when I was doing it for the few years I was doing it on my own, I'd ask for a third, and a third.
Yeah.
Third before to reserve, then a third on the day, and then a third when you delivered.
Yeah.
But it's different too, because the society has changed. I found that, well, evidently now it's no longer the parents that are getting the photographer, it's the actual bride and groom.
Yeah.
And the photographer is chosen literally up to a month in advance. Like a month from the day of the wedding. I knew a bride who reserved her photographer 10 years in advance. She had her photographer, she had her videographer, she had her church, and she had her hall all reserved 10 years in advance.
Did you have the husband?
She didn't even have the boyfriend.
Okay.
Okay? But she'd had done everything 10 years in advance.
Yeah.
I remember because I shot their engagement party, and that was an impressive an impressive family.
Are they still married?
They are still married. They have two or three. No, they have two kids. Yeah, they have two kids. Um, and I see them. I see them once every a couple of years. I see them.
Well, I have a lot of weddings that I did with my friends too. And when it's their anniversary, you know, their 45th anniversary or their 50th anniversary, they show me because usually a lot of them used to make a 16 by 20 of
Yeah.
one of the pictures.
Right.
I'd put it on the wall and they would call me and say, hey, c'est mon 45e anniversaire. And Gad, they said, c'est toi qui as pris ça. Half of them I forget. You know, I forgot I took the wedding, you know.
Yeah.
It's fun, you know, it's fun. But
In 2004, when I started, I was shooting, and it was the first. I was using a 6 megapixel Minolta 7D Maxim, or the Maxim 7D, and oh man, I was shooting. I went crazy. I mean, it was digital photography. It didn't cost anything.
yeah,
I was shooting 3,000 photos. Uncle, when he heard that, he asked me that question a couple weddings down the road. He said to me, he said, so how many weddings you shoot? How many photos you shooting? You know, I was impressed. 2005, 3,000 photos.
what
And
are
he
you
looked at me, he
crazy?
goes, what the hell do you do with all those photos?
Yeah,
I says, you know, it takes me about 3 weeks before I can get it actually cut down to about 200, 250 of my best
That's
to get
it.
to the photographer.
I would.
And my wife was looking at me going, but are you serious? You've been working on this damn wedding for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, is it actually pay? And then towards the end, towards the last 3 or 4 years, I think I was shooting under 800 photos a wedding
Yeah.
as a
Yeah,
principal.
it's more in today's day, it's more reasonable too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, you know, because then you have to go back, like you said, you know, you come back home with 1,000 or 3,000 photos. You have to sit for hours and hours to go through that on the computer, which is not the job that we enjoy doing as
No,
photographers
exactly.
at all.
no, and the client too. The client will not look at 3,000 photos.
No.
No.
She's gonna ask you, or he's gonna ask you, donne-moi les meilleurs.
C'est ça.
So you gotta treat it. And now,
And the thing
what are you
is
gonna cut 3,000 to? 1,000? You know what I mean?
and the customer only sees you on the day of the wedding.
Mm.
They think that that's the only moment that you're working is while you are shooting. They don't realize that it takes 2 or 3 weeks more. Then there's always, after you've given them the first sort, they come back to you with their own selection. Then you got to do the album, and sometimes an album can take a good month to build. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's
And sometimes you need a little bit of post work.
oh, absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
you know. So
I don't know much about wildlife, but Mark, you would know. I think that in wildlife, there's also moments where you shoot a lot of photos, right? Or
Oh
no?
yeah, depending on how you move around your subject and things like that. I think you guys discussed one of my pictures last week. Well, sorry, on the Friday, I believe, where you have a bunch of turtles all lined up one after the other
Oh
on the
yes,
log, and
Yeah.
I called it traffic jam. And
Nice shot. Nice shot.
so basically, that one, those are the pictures that are sort of pop up by themselves. I was trying to get a certain duck on on a log, and I was going around, but I couldn't get the subject correct because he had his head between his wings, so moving around. So I'm like, give me a second, please.
Yeah.
Sorry. So basically that, but then I don't only do wildlife. I'll do a studio. I'll do macro photography. I'll do a
he does
couple other
rats.
things. Yes, yes, yes. That's
Rats.
another subject where I've taken
Yeah,
one of the
it's
very
rats,
first
yeah.
pictures I've taken in digital. I used to work as an exterminator, and
Okay.
I'm in a place where there's multiple rats, and one of them is pulling a wrapper from Mr. Big.
Oh,
I found that the joke was and lack of experience and lack of equipment. At that time, I was shooting with a T5, Canon T5, and I didn't have the lens to the telephoto lens to sort of get close to them. So basically, I overstretched the picture, so it looks, the focus looks soft in the image, but at least the image
got
was
it.
there, you
No,
know.
it's a nice shot.
You got the yeah.
You got the shot.
Yeah, you
So
got
c'est
the
ça. Mais, God, like I say, I'm an opportunistic photographer. I'm out with the guys. Well, hey, that's what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying myself and the company and the opportunities and things like that. And like I tell the guys, I tend to go out and say, okay, I have a mindset. I want to take this type of picture. It never works out.
Well,
I'll
not
go-
really, not really. Your cinema pictures are very nice.
Yeah, but it's
cinema
not
pictures
the
are excellent.
picture I planned. You know, some photographers come up and they'll have an image in their head and they'll go around and they'll get the background, they'll get everything, and they'll build the image to what they want. And example, I'll go somewhere, take pictures of wolves. So you've got Eco Museum is a good place to take pictures. You've got all the different zoos and things like that. With the mindset of taking wolf pictures, and I'll come out with Arctic fox, an Arctic fox picture instead, which will come out better, you know.
Yeah,
But like you said, I'm out. I'm taking photography for the fun of it, for the social events of it, and things like that. And when I take out a picture, I know not everyone will like it.
But
There's a joke that say that if you can get only 1% of the population of Earth to like your picture, well, you've got a few million people that enjoy it. So
That's very good. Yeah.
but you know, a lot of the best pictures we take are not planned.
are not planned, yes.
Yeah, are not planned. They're just you were at the right minute, the right time, the right lighting, and you saw it. And you saw it because as a photographer, we look and we see,
Exactly.
you know.
And just to go back to wildlife, you know, I've been doing it for the last what 5-6 years now. I do always go out with my two cameras. I go with my 200-600, but I always have either a macro or my 2070, the new f4 from Sony, which is not, it's not a macro lens, but it's close to a macro lens, which allows me at 70 millimeters to get about half X, not 1-for-1, but half of it.
Yeah.
So that if whatever bird I'm searching for or it doesn't happen, and I see a mushroom, oh look, a mushroom on the side of the tree. I pull out the 2070. I put the 200-600 back on my chest. I grab the 2070, put it 70 millimeters, I walk up to the mushroom, and then I get a nice shot of a, you know what I mean, or fung, you know what I mean?
And, then you get stoned too.
Well, you know, I don't smoke it, but or eat it. You know what I mean? I
Just
just
as a
come back
joke,
with it in
AJ.
my camera.
Don't forget, I was in the 70s.
Just as a joke, AJ, this weekend I was walking around and trying to. There's a little un petit boisé à côté de chez moi, and basically no good subjects. You know, no birds, no nothing, no animals, no squirrels, no chipmunks. Have you ever tried taking flower pictures with a 150-60 Tamron?
Oh, geez, yes, of course.
Well, I was on top of a small ledge and you had flowers at the bottom and took a few shots there. So I came back with something, you know.
There you go.
That's it.
It's fine to go out with an idea, but understand that that idea might not happen. Like today, this morning, right? We went down to the port. We thought we were going to have a shit day. C'était tout couvert. It was, you know,
ideally, I was looking to photograph Andrew's shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the start of our project, right?
Yeah.
And I said, look at when we left, there was no sun.
Oh God, yeah.
I said, so we're gonna have to modify this thing because there's no sun, there's no shadow. Yeah. But we were lucky. At one point, the sun came up for half an hour about.
Half an hour, yeah. The last half hour.
I got a few shadow pictures.
Yeah.
But they were announcing rain today. They were announcing. That's why I started working on the pool. I go, I'm not going to go further out. And if I start working on the pool, well, hey, it starts raining. It's not going to bother me. You know, everything's wet. So
the
sun be ready for tomorrow.
But But you know, that's the beauty of photography too. You know, is finding those things that you didn't think you would find. You know.
That's it.
I
I was driving in through Granby, what is it, about a month ago, and in one corner I just spotted an old, you know, the orange crush
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
signs of the dépanneur,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh, there wasn't good lighting. It was cloudy, but yeah, I was like, I'm gonna capture this just as a memory. This is such a nice old sign, and I parked the car right there and walked on the diagonal street to get to it. And it's a tiny dépanneur, okay, yellow, with a payphone outside, and there's this guy standing like this talking on the payphone. I
No
hadn't
way.
seen anybody talking on a payphone in like 100 years.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was like, oh my God, I started taking pictures of the guy talking on the phone, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
get, you know, I bad frames and then one frame that I liked, and I'm like, wow, like this is, I did not expect to find this moment.
yeah, yeah.
And after I took that, I was like, okay, let me try and get the sign, and I couldn't even find a good angle for the sign. There was always a dirty background or something. I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, I took one just for to have it as a memory. Go back there one day and figure out how to shoot that sign.
yeah, yeah.
But I love that shot of that guy in front of the dépanneur. You see the crush sign on the side, not straight on.
Right.
It's like such a, and that's how my photography goes too. You know, I
Yeah,
go out for something, end up shooting something else. And
exactly,
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
You
yeah,
know, we have
And
been,
more you're relaxed, sorry, more you're relaxed, you seem to be noticing things that pop into your head faster. Oh, I could do an image with that, or I could do with this. And sometimes you're just walking. I've walked into a park once, and it's like all these ideas, or the way the light was hitting leaves, or
absolutely.
it's like it was like the expression, you're in the zone. It's like you just keep turning, and it's, hey, I've got another one here. Oh, I've got another one here. You know?
But I'm going to
yeah,
give you a défi.
Okay.
Okay. And I was telling Andrew this today. In the olden days, we didn't have zooms. You know, every camera today has got a zoom, you know, 24 to 70 or 120 or whatever. So, you know, you can stand here and say, oh, I want to good, you know.
yeah,
In our day, we had to change lenses. You know, we
That's
had a
right.
24, a 50, a 35, an 85, a 105, a 135, or 200. So what I did this week is I went for a walk after just, well, around supper time. And I had a Pentax with a 135 millimeter lens on it. And I says, I have nothing else. So I have to see what I can shoot with 135. Assez tu m'en parles.
Oh wait,
oh yeah,
I've done it in a different way where I have a nifty 50.
Yeah,
yeah,
Bang, and it's a prime lens. So it's basically all
like
the
a
other ones I
105.
have is are zooms, you know, to where you
Yeah,
can play between this and that. And that one, a couple of times I would put it on, just take a walk, and it sort of makes you explore your environment a little more.
yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's all basing on what you can shoot with it. I mean, you
that's
know,
it.
a 135 is 1.5 times a 50, right?
Yeah.
Basically. And satellite that, yeah, but you know, it's good for portraits, good for this, good for that. But try and shoot a scene with it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or try and shoot a street shot with it, unless you want just portrait street shots.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it gives you because when I went to school, I went to Loyola Communication Arts, and in there, one of the courses was journalism,
Photojournalism.
photojournalism. And in that, they gave us the défi to tell a story within 3 pictures. So we had to tell the story within 3 pictures, because they says most newspapers will look at your 3 pictures and they'll choose one
One of the three.
of the three to tell the story
wow,
in the newspaper.
Okay.
So we, you know, all of us in the class, we all went out, you know, shooting whatever we thought that would tell the story in 3 pictures. And then the teacher at the end would be the editor of the newspaper, and he'd choose one picture from each guy to tell the story. And it was a very, very, very tough thing. I mean, we take it for granted when we look at the newspaper, although today everything's on the internet. But we take it for granted when they chose that picture. Where did they choose it? Why did they choose that picture? And what story is it telling? You know? So those are things that build up. I don't know how to say it, but maybe a professionalism in what we decide to shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a 135 here too. I'm gonna try it.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it.
I have it's a 56 millimeter that I put on the Olympus, so
Yeah.
it's an equivalent to 112
112, it's good.
112, yeah.
times. And I love going out with this thing. It's a big challenge, especially in the city. It's a huge challenge, but
It is. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
And
Not
the
a zoom, right?
56, the Fuji 50, that's a fixed lens.
it's a fix. It's a Sigma. It's the Sigma one.
Oh, it's a Sigma lens. Okay,
Yeah,
because Fuji has a 56 for portrait,
yeah.
and it's supposed to be the Fuji lens.
Oh yeah.
Of all their lenses, the Fuji 56, I think it's a 1.4.
Yeah.
I have to check it. I
Oh,
think we
this
had
is-
one.
Yeah, this is a 1.4 56. It's supposed to be very amazing for portraits, but and I've taken a few with it. It's beautiful. It's just a very very nice for that. But like you said, Bob, taking it out to the street as a challenge and having nothing but that,
Yes.
That's it. You know.
your brain is starting to think, and it's not. I find it's easier to think in terms of wider and to 50. But once
Yeah.
you're in Zoom, it's always like, wait, how much of this frame is going to be in my?
Exactly.
You got to pick it up, and you're like,
Gotta-
okay, wait,
That's right. That's right. And you gotta see far.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like the other night in my walk when I had that 135, I walked around the park. See, if I would have had the 50, I would have walked into the park.
That's right.
yeah,
But because I had the 135, I walked around the park and I still got shots from inside the park.
yeah.
So, you know, and there was kids doing those roller things on the cement things there, you know. With
Oh,
the-
that's nice.
Skateboard.
Yeah, the
you know,
skate
so
park.
I stayed a good distance away and still got them close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was pretty good, you know. But I like doing challenges like that. You know, sometimes I go out with just a 24 millimeter lens.
yeah.
Well, that you challenged me 2 years ago, and I ended up keeping a 24 on my body for I think 4 months.
I told you
Amazing.
that's a lens that I love, but it can only photograph certain things because
Certain
otherwise
things.
everything's too far.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
But yeah, you know, it's good. You know, I photographed a lot of things in my life. You know, I have over 100,000 digital pictures in my computer, and maybe another 100,000 negative and slides. Andrew knows what I'm
Yes.
talking about because he's seen
Yeah.
that. And you know, I love it. I love it. It's a passion, you know. I love
Can
it.
tell by your background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Well, just to tell you, Dan,
Yeah.
if you look in it, you see the just above his head to the right, or to our right, his left.
Yeah, the three
Those are
frames.
just negative binders.
Oh yeah, you're talking about this.
Yeah.
Oh,
all
wow.
those
Okay,
stacks
yeah, yeah.
Those are
The
negative
binders.
binders.
Yeah, yeah. Now I see the cameras. I didn't notice them before.
Yeah.
I
Oh my God.
collect automatic cameras.
Yeah.
I'm up to 68 now.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's Andrew's fault, though. You know.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's my fault. Blame, as I used to say in the weddings, blame the photographer.
No, the guy called me up. Look, when this guy came in, brought this thing here. You said that too. Did that at least 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
Auntie
But
wanted to kill me.
Yeah, and I used to
Yeah.
tell my wife all the time that this is the last one I'm buying. I'm not buying any more. That was maybe around number 22 or 23 when I told
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Then you stopped the denial. You realized, okay, never mind that.
Yeah.
In fact, the last one I bought was like last week. So
Yeah. It took me a lot of mental effort to get to the point of saying I'm gonna sell the D750 because I was just gonna add more stuff to the arsenal. Um, but at some point, you know, speaking of zooms, you made me think of that. You know, when the simpler the setup, it goes back to the beginning what we spoke about. The simpler the setup, the more you go back to, you have to just be in the moment. You know, the
Exactly.
more options you have, the zoom and this, you're always second guessing yourself and thinking, should I zoom in? Should I zoom out? Should I go
Yep.
wide? Should I go in? What am I doing? It
Now, in the
that's not what it's about, right?
no, exactly.
Doesn't matter what limitations you have. The more limitations you have, the more present you have to be to use those to your advantage. And the more
Exactly.
options you have, the more distracted you are with all the options, right?
You have to adapt.
I
Yeah,
get I get I always get comments just in the family. I'm saying immediate family. Even, you know, when I go visit my mom with my wife and kids, you know, sometimes my wife and my mom will look at me and say, put the damn thing down and just, you know, be present. And I look at them and I turn around and he says, you know what? What I'm doing makes it that I'm more present because I'm waiting for the moment to represent today. And that's something that I have aspired to learning from Uncle Bob.
yeah,
Because my uncle, through all of the years of my growing up, when we would get together as a family at my grandparents', at his house, at my uncle's, anywhere we were all together as a family, he
It was
would shoot one shot. And that one shot told the story of the whole evening, of the whole afternoon, of
yeah.
the whole morning, where I shot a roll of 36 and might have got
it's
one shot.
crash them. Yeah,
He did it bang on. That,
yeah,
see, I
I,
still aspire
I
to.
always have a camera on the table or
yeah.
behind me. And I still do that today, you know, except when I work naturally, but you know,
Yeah,
when I stop working, the camera's with me all the time. Sometimes I go see my girlfriend and I got three cameras in the car. And she laughs at it. She laughs. She says, you know, okay, you know.
But even at work,
she
see, you
laughs and you say
documented.
it's only three.
Yeah. You're lucky I didn't bring five more.
But see, even at work, I mean, you documented
No,
the
yes,
whole.
I did, but it wasn't as on my desk as it is when I'm
Oh,
free of work. Yeah,
right.
yes, I did bring my camera. It was in my car most of the time. Naturally, when I would go see a job or whatever, stuff like that, I'd have, you know, I'd photograph it when the men were working, stuff like that. When the digital stuff came out or the phones came out, uh, I took photographs, but not to honor the company as much as to have documentation of whatever the job was before doing the job. So
Okay.
I could show the man, you know, look, looks like this. This is what we got to do, you know.
Yeah,
But once they were doing it, then I would take the cameras and photograph them properly, you know, as they were doing it. So I tried to put photography in everything I did,
Hmm.
really, you know, even when I would present things to the clients, a lot of times there were pictures, you know, and photographs, and so I always tried to include it, you know. I did studio. I still have a studio in my house here. Uh, it's a studio that ideally pas plus que deux personnes à la fois, là.
right.
But I could do more, but I'd have to move a bit around the lights and the studio setup and that stuff there. But I love that. You know, I love these things. I love to control the light. You know, I love
Yeah,
to, you know, to play
yeah.
with it.
There's a magic to that also.
There is, yeah, yeah, there is. You know, and I have grandchildren. I have four grandchildren, so what. They go through periods. Sometimes they're very good models, and sometimes you just want to. They don't want to talk to you. You know, you know, it's like, you know, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. You know.
I like photographing dogs, and not long ago I was at a dog park up on Dr. Penfield,
Mm-hmm.
and this I don't know what breed of dog it was, some kind of hunting dog. He was standing still, like frozen, looking at a squirrel. He was probably like 100 meters from me. I didn't have the lens to shoot him that far.
Yeah, yeah.
Frozen, looking at a squirrel that was by a tree not far from where I was standing, and uh, and just frozen. I was like, "What is he gonna do?" I'm watching him, and as soon as the squirrel turned around, this dog bolted towards the squirrel. The squirrel easily ran away, and then the dog stayed there closer to the fence where I was. And I was like, I'm there. It had beautiful light on him, everything. I was like, I'm gonna go and shoot this dog. I got one shot that I took quickly, or two, and the dog was just like, he saw me, and he's like, no, he just turned around and sat with his butt towards me. He's like, we're not doing this today. I was like, okay.
Good. They are fun to photograph. In fact,
Yeah.
Andrew, I don't know if I told you, but Emma, my granddaughter, got 2 cats yesterday.
That's right.
2 new cats. So now tomorrow night, that's what she called before to invite us for supper. So I'm gonna have to bring a camera to photograph the 2 cats. You
The two
What
cats.
what lens are you bringing for that?
know. A good question. Good question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of bringing the 40mm that I bought. You know, the 40
Oh, for the Z, yeah.
yeah, for the Z, and I should be able to get close enough to them. You know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it should be good. So we'll see. I'll probably
Unless
start
you got
with
a curious animal that keep walking towards your lens.
yes, yes, it's well, they're babies, they're baby cats, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna be very curious when they see me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
especially when once you get down, right? They
Yeah.
get so curious.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, but there's an easy trick for that. It's called Velcro or tie wraps.
What do you do with that? Oh, okay, it's a
Don't
joke.
ask. Don't ask.
Don't
Yeah.
ask.
We don't want to get it. We don't want to get
Okay,
into
then
details.
you're talking about another uncle there, not just any uncle. Huh?
Good. That's true.
Good one.
You know, photography brings many joys, even for the people that we photograph. You know,
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been on. I do a lot of traveling, so I do a lot of travel photography, and the people I go with, you know, they all want to have copies of my pictures and copies of this stuff because although they take their own with their phones and stuff like that, it's not the same, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends realize that when they start looking at the pictures, you know. So it's fun. I enjoy it, you know.
Yeah.
And like you know, when we go out with our film cameras, you always get that that one couple or that one person. There was one guy I talked with him for a good 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, for sure.
The guy in the alleyway there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they get curious about and well, I mean, Dan, you know, from the group, and that group has grown. I mean, we're close to 500 people apparently, over 550.
With Biare
Yeah, the
Montréal.
Camera Montréal,
Yeah.
and 2/3 of them are film photographers.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
You know, it's for me, it's amazing how much it's come back. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it never left us, but I mean, how it's just gotten that much more popular.
How it's getting popular again, yeah. Well,
Exactly.
I'm sure Kodak is happy.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, you know, and even like Kodak and even Fuji's bringing back some of their films
Yeah,
that they had discontinued 5 or 10 years ago.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But they gotta bring back Kodachrome.
Is this across the continent or around the world that film photography is coming back?
Well, Europe still has a lot of film photography.
Yeah, I think
More than us, I think.
more than us, yeah, more than
think-
the Western world. We kind of jumped on the digital bandwagon 25 years ago,
Yeah,
more so than Europe.
probably. Yeah.
You know, because you know, as Leica is a European company, right? It's German. It's more popular in Europe as Canon and Nikon would be here.
Yeah. And Leica still makes film cameras.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's one of the only ones left who make
Yeah.
film.
I think
Well,
they
now
were they
Ricoh-
were the last ones to get on the digital.
Yes,
Yep,
yes, they
exactly.
were.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
work. And,
Yeah.
you know, they have an exceptional digital camera too.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's 10, 12,000 bucks.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's you know, but Suzuka and you know, the other one who, I don't know if Hasselblad still makes film cameras, but I would
I
imagine.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think the last one was the wasn't it the C550?
Was the C550? Yeah, but
I think that was the last film camera they made.
I know that they make digital film backs for the C550, for the C500 and the C1000
Yeah.
and 1000C, I mean. And that in itself is an advancement because you have the beauty of working with the Hasselblad, the original Hasselblad, and the facility of having the digital, you know, on the back.
In the back, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's I had a Hasselblad at one time, and unfortunately, I had to sell it because I needed the money.
Actually, I got it here.
Oh,
Hasselblad produced its 500V series of cameras from the 1950s until 2013. When they
2013.
ceased production of all their film-based products,
Okay.
the 503CW was the last in its line,
Okay.
and everything now is digital.
The digital, yeah. So
Yeah.
you can imagine Hasselblad digital must be around 35,000 bucks.
The Hasselblad, I
Yeah.
think they start at 40 or 50.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
But they're not true.
No, they're not
They're
true.
not true medium format.
No, I know they're not true. DeKalb.
Yeah.
They're not. They're more. They're more 1.5
Exactly.
millimeter.
Yeah. And then Ricoh got into it 2 years ago with the 17, or what Ricoh technically calls it the 1.7, which is the half frame point and shoot camera.
yeah.
Which now apparently they're getting into. I think they're getting into developing an SLR now.
Pentax is supposed to be bringing out a digital equivalent of 6x7.
Oh, are they?
Well, I heard that. I don't know if
Okay.
it's not true, but you know, that's what I heard. And if they
Okay.
would bring it out, I said it would be,
Oh, for sure.
would be a nice machine for sure.
Because their last one was, well, it was called the 645,
Yeah.
which is basically the same thing as the the Fuji, the GFX.
Yeah, the GFX. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's
yeah.
right.
But you know, they're a little big. But what do you want?
I think the film cameras are like, I don't think we're going to see any new film cameras in the 120. Most of the newest film cameras are the ones that are for large format. So 4x5, 5.7, 810, 1620, 1114.
Did you see that twin lens?
The digital one?
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks like a toy, but
I know it does, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. I would like him to make
And it does video.
Yeah, I know. But the principle, I like the principle.
Yes.
What is that?
Hang on.
It's a twin lens reflex.
Yeah.
This
On
A
this
digital
note, guys, on
twin
this
lens
note, guys,
reflex?
I'm gonna have to say good night because I have to go take care of something. And till next time, it was a pleasure to meet you, Dan. Till next
It was
time.
a pleasure to meet you too, Mark.
Mark,
I
it's
hope
always
we
a pleasure to see
get
you.
to talk more.
Mark, it's always a pleasure. I love you, man.
We love you,
We'll
man.
see
Yeah.
you soon. Same
you.
time next month.
And when did you want me to come swimming?
Tomorrow morning, the water will be nice and cool.
Nice.
Okay, as long as
Take care, guys.
I swim 72 and over.
Okay,
Alright,
here.
man.
Wait, guys.
This is the twin lens reflex.
Oh, okay, twin. Yes, that style.
And they made one. It's digital, but it's
Yeah.
like 2/3 the size of this.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit good in your hand. It's too
Yeah,
small,
yeah, yeah.
you
I
know.
saw something like they're selling a bunch of different brands of this on Amazon.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
this one. Yeah, that's
There
it.
it
You
is.
see it?
Yeah.
But look how small it is. It's
Yeah.
It's tiny.
yeah, it's tiny.
And it's 100, it's regular 281.
Yeah.
It's 169 on sale. And apparently the handle, the crank,
Yeah.
is that you can crank it for video.
Yeah.
So
No
you
way.
control the speed of your video capture.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I would like to see it a little bigger format, bigger,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bigger size.
It really is
Look how
tiny.
small it is. It's really small. See?
I think what's appealing with that for me when I saw that the ad for that camera, the same brand, um, is that it can work in your favor for street photography.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's
Absolutely.
right, because people don't know it's digital. It looks like this mechanical old toy,
Yeah.
retro toy, right?
Exactly.
It could be an advantage to
Well,
get
when you
some.
look at photographers of the 50s and 60s, a lot of the street photography was done with this
Yeah, yeah.
because
Vivian Mayer, did you see
Vivian
her work?
Mayer
Yeah,
was,
Yeah.
yeah, she was, I think, the boss of this. She,
what a story.
it is, yeah, well, it is, but people don't see you look at them because you're looking down into the camera,
Yeah,
and that's a big thing. So if you would get a digital one like this
yeah,
size, I think it would do, would be something.
And that too, like last week I gave a class on street photography. And I was telling people that, street photography is not only about, just shooting the human condition, but it's also your comportement, how you yourself represent yourself in the moment. Like if you can be discreet enough that people forget you're even leaning up against that building or leaning up against that light post, that'll give you more chance of getting the shot you want.
yeah,
Because that's when people ignore you. They don't realize that you're there. It's got nothing to do with a silent shutter. It's got nothing to do with putting your camera on silent or it's got to do with you just and stop chimping. Stop taking a shot looking at
yeah,
your camera, taking a shot looking at your camera.
yeah,
You know it very well too. In film photography, we never saw the photo until the film came back to us.
yeah,
You know, it's we expect things too quickly today.
yeah,
You know, same thing with wedding photography. Everybody wants. Can you share me the shots so that I can put them up on the screen? Please. I haven't even looked at my shots yet.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's ridiculous how we've come to a point where it's just gotten so. I want it now. I want it yesterday.
yeah.
You know,
One
it's
day, one
probably
day, one day shipping, same day shipping on
same day
Amazon.
ship
It's
exactly.
like,
You know, and the thing is the companies are going that way with it, because now you can stream your with the new high end cameras, you
yeah,
can literally stream them to a cloud and have your retouchers already working on them, and you just took the shot.
yeah,
I mean, it's gotten ridiculous.
Well,
yeah,
the ZF, as I'm photographing them, sends them directly to my phone.
Yeah,
The,
exactly.
as I'm photographing. So
yeah,
if I had someone to fix them,
Yeah,
they
for
could,
sure.
yeah,
they would do it
yeah,
right away. Like, you know what I mean?
Panasonic, that's what they're selling. That's in the last two new cameras that have come out. That's what they're selling.
I
The
believe
fact that
it.
you can put them onto a network, and stream them straight to a network drive and have your retouches, or even have the client just use the shots out of the camera.
Yes, it's so.
Sorry.
I took a shot today, Andrew, of while you were in the toilet. I don't know if I can share it. Let's see. Share?
Oh, you're talking about when we were at the old port.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, let's see. Well, I was in the toilet.
Let's see. This here, share. Is this the way I do it? Am I
Yeah,
sharing?
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Okay, you got it. See
Oh,
this
nice shot.
this
Wow.
woman had that cloak off her head.
Okay.
And when she saw my camera on the tripod, she looked at me and she assez caché, tu sais.
Okay.
But she didn't know that it gave me a better shot than when she
Ah
was
oui,
posed,
c'est ça.
So I took a little closer, a little further, just to see what I could do with it. Hey, there's that shot of
There's the plane. There you go.
There's the plane.
But you see, that's the thing, is that people think that just because they're sitting on a bench and a camera's pointed in their direction, you're shooting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These shots are so much better when they're anonymous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the fact that a particular person is there. It's the fact that there's somebody, you know what I mean? All I need is a shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having the shape of a person sitting on a bench is all that I need. That's all I want. I don't want
Yeah.
anything more than that.
Yeah.
We've become so egocentric and so self-centered that, oh God, no, you can't take me. You
Yeah,
can't shoot me.
like
Yeah.
I shot this guy here too. I don't know. This guy was taking pictures, so you know.
There I am. There
That's
you
a
go.
good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's nice.
So
Hey.
yeah. But
That's what you were calling the workhorse?
Yeah,
No, that's my
That's the
baby
horseman.
workhorse. My
That's
the
baby
baby
workhorse.
workhorse.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a nice camera. It's a nice camera.
Yeah.
But no, we had a good day today with that.
But next time I got to bring the 4x5 with my dry plate.
Yeah, yeah. And here's I'm gonna just show you this one because this is Andrew's girlfriend's.
Oh, geez, no way.
Yeah, yeah.
You got a shot?
Andrew's girl.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
Yeah, these two girls
Nice.
came with
These
Andrew.
two girls stopped. Yeah.
They were like, you know,
And it was
Yeah.
really, it was the redhead. The redhead was asking me all kinds of
she
questions about the
was good.
camera.
And Andrew, she even knew my name when she shook my hand. Hi, Bob. Nice to meet you.
I told her, I said, hey, it's because of that man over there that I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I
Yeah.
love it.
There we go.
That must have been a nice experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For them also, they're seeing this. It's like you came out of a mystery movie or something with the.
Oh yeah, with
Yeah.
my Australian Outback jacket on and everything.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
your hat, the camera, the whole thing. You got the whole character going on there.
Well, you see, the theme I have in my the exhibition we're supposed to do is I wanted to have a photographer who we don't necessarily see his face, and he's dressed the way he's dressed. And I knew Andrew had this coat, so I says, Andrew, you gotta bring the coat, you gotta bring the hat, and just pretend you're taking pictures. He actually took pictures, but I mean,
Yeah.
pretend you're
I was
taking-
gonna say I took advantage.
yeah, I took advantage. So so we got at least 10 scenarios, different scenarios.
Yeah.
I should be able to find something in there that's gonna work out the.
I should be posting mine in about a week or so.
Yeah, so
As soon as I get that role developed.
yeah.
Guys, we've come on an hour and 40 minutes.
All right.
I think we can shut it down.
Yeah.
Dan, you're welcome, more than welcome for next month.
Absolutely.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
you the link. I'll add you to our list on the Zoom so that it'll remind you. If you don't have to, if you can't, don't worry about it. It's not a necessity.
I'll do my best. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
We
I
enjoyed
really
having
appreciate
you.
it.
Was nice
see-
meeting you, Dan. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you,
Maybe one
Bob.
day we'll get to see each other in person at
We're gonna
Yeah.
make it happen. Not maybe, for sure.
And
This has
shoot
to
together.
happen. Yes,
Sure.
yes.
All right then.
Thank you, Tsi.
Thank you.
Hi guys.
Love you. And
Bonsoir.
everybody out there,
Love
bonne
you.
soirée à tous.
Yeah.
Merci pour ceux
Till the
que
next
we've got.
time.
At least we got 26 views today
Yeah, pretty good.
while we're doing this live. So
Amazing.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
I
Tato.
wish you all a wonderful week.
All right, you guys too.
Ciao
Bye.
all.
Good night.
Good night.